This is a land of dreams and madness.
So Ahsoka has come to an end, and I'm going to be doing a live stream about that tonight. Times are probably on screen now, so I hope you're able to join me for that, where I'm going to be discussing the final episode and the season as a whole. But at the moment, I just want to talk about one particular aspect of the Ahsoka finale, and that's Baylon. As always, I'm Al, this is the Geek in Review, so let's get to it. So you're probably wondering what's going on with Baylon or what might be happening, because he was a character that was heavily focused on, especially in the later half of the season once they met Thrawn, and he's clearly been set up to do or be part of bigger things. Now, I'm aware that not everyone has seen the Clone Wars or the Rebels animated show, so I'm going to try and fill in a few blanks about where exactly Baylon was, what was going on, and what might happen. But before we get into it, just to say thanks for taking the time to choose to watch this channel. I really appreciate it, and if you haven't done it already, please subscribe, and if you make it all the way to the end, leave a like as well.
Do it.
But once Baylon got to the new galaxy in Peridia, he revealed to Shin that he felt something calling him there. He also wondered why the nightsisters were so keen to leave this part of space after thousands of years, and what potentially they might be running from. And the last time we seen him before the final episode was last week in episode 7, when he sort of said goodbye to Shin and set her free, but kind of not really. It was all a little bit vague. And a lot happened in the finale that made you kind of forget about Baylon for most of the episode. In fact, he only got one real scene, and that's what I want to talk about. We've seen him walking out into a huge statue carved into the side of a mountain on a man's hand, and either side of those there was two figures as well. Now, to explain these, the statue or the mountain that Baylon is on is a representation of the father.
I am much more. And so are you.
The figure on this side is the son, and the one with the head missing is the daughter. And if you haven't watched the Clone Wars cartoon, you might not know exactly what this means. So these three figures are Mortis gods. So what are they? They're also called the Ones, and they first appeared in the Clone Wars, and they're literally three Force gods, or more accurate, ultimate Force users, who live in a realm called Mortis outside normal space in the Star Wars universe. As I mentioned, they're the daughter who represents the light side of the Force, the brother who represents the dark, and the father who balances between the two. And he has to keep this balance in order to stop chaos erupting. So in the Clone Wars, Obi-Wan, Anakin and Ahsoka enter the Mortis realm, where Anakin's role as the Chosen One and his place in the Force is really put into a greater perspective, more so than just, say, the amount of microscopic creatures in your bloodstream. While they're there, the son tries to turn Anakin to the dark side, and the father wants to make sure that Anakin is the Chosen One in order to bring balance. And I'll explain what balance really is later on in the video.
See who you truly are. Only the Chosen One could tame both my children.
The father is basically dying and wanted Anakin to stay in the Mortis realm, taking his place. In this arc, the daughter sacrifices herself when the son tries to kill the father to tip the balance, and the father kills himself, stopping the son doing this, and the father wanted Anakin, as I said, to replace him, making Anakin the balance in the Force they mention in the prequels. Because, going back to episode 1, they said pretty much straight away that Anakin was the Chosen One, and the Jedi thought this would mean that Anakin would wipe out the Sith and thus restore the balance to the light side. When instead the Jedi were wiped out, as this restored the balance by lowering the light side users, because, you know, there's only ever two Sith plus other dark side users as well. So the balance in the Force isn't really a Jedi versus Sith thing, it's a light versus dark or son versus daughter in this case, as the balance is made up of every Force user, not just the Jedi and the Sith. And Star Wars is kind of linearly stuck to just focusing on the Jedi and the Sith up until recently. But in this show, we've seen Sabine Wren, who isn't really a Jedi and a Force user, and also Baylon and Shin, who have actively said that they're not Jedi anyway, but also clearly Force users. So just to give a greater sense of what the balance is, it's not just about the Sith and the Jedi side. So I guess the question is then, when Anakin died in Return of the Jedi, did he take his place as a Mortis god? He first appeared to Ahsoka in the World Between Worlds and seemed to have control over it, so this would indicate he's more powerful than just another Jedi Force ghost. So does he want, or is he also setting up Ahsoka to take the place of the sister? I think that's a strong possibility here. They're clearly setting up for more of the Mortis gods by the end of the Ahsoka run, or at least in other projects that are going to tie into it. But with Ray Stevenson dying, it might not be Baylon who explores it further. They could always recast him or explain why he looks different, or they could also transfer his planned storyline over to Shin or another character. But if Ahsoka's a potential replacement for the daughter, could Baylon be a replacement for the son? Yeah, if they're going down this road, probably as well, but again, going back to the whole Ray Stevenson thing, they've probably had to change the plan as a whole. So the three figures that we see at the end of Ahsoka and Baylon's storyline are these Mortis gods, the father, the son, and the daughter. It's just a question of how Filoni is going to tie in or explain their purpose in Star Wars, at least this live action version. We've already had the Night Sisters of Dathomir, and they're clearly getting set up to be the big antagonist in Season 2, so I wonder exactly where the Mortis gods are going to fit in, and how Anakin and Ahsoka are going to fit into this plan as well. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. But yeah, I liked Ahsoka. I don't think it was a perfect Star Wars show, but it's probably one of the better ones in live action that we've had since Disney took over. And I might do a video on the entire season as well, but let's say you can join me later on tonight and support the channel by subscribing. I really want to hear what you guys think, so if you can't make it, let me know in the comments below. Or you can reach out to me on Twitter or X or whatever the fuck you want to call it at The Geeks Reviews. And as always, my name's Al. Thanks for watching.